Netfrastic Poetry, a Montana Museum project by Melissa Kwasny and me, Mandy Smoker. I had the great privilege to serve with my good friend Melissa as the Montana Poets Laureate from 2019 to 2021. At the end of our tenure, we were awarded a fellowship from the Academy of American Poets. For our project, we decided to visit some of the many wonderful art and historical museums in our state, select an object or piece of art, and write a poem. When a poem is inspired by a work of art, it is called Ekphrastic poetry. We would like to share what we've learned in the hope that teachers and students will be able to use our methods to engage creatively with museum collections, no matter where you live.
I'm Melissa Kwasny. The term ekphrastic originates from a Greek expression for description. The earliest ekphrastic poems were vivid accounts of real or imagined scenes. Today, the word ekphrastic can refer to any poetic response to an object or work of art. One of the first examples of ekphrastic poetry is in Homer's Iliad, when he describes in great detail the embossed designs on the shield of Achilles. Here's an example of an ekphrastic poem, Two Monkeys by Bruegel, written by the Polish poet Wisława Szymborska. Two Monkeys by Bruegel. I keep dreaming of my graduation exam. In a window sit two chained monkeys. Beyond the window floats the sky, and the sea splashes. I am taking an exam on the history of mankind. I stammer and flounder. One monkey, eyes fixed upon me, listens ironically. The other seems to be dozing, and when silence follows a question, he prompts me with the soft jingling of the chain. Take a minute and look closer at the painting. Szymborska notices the two monkeys first and the chains that bind them. What else do you see? What color are the animals? What is in the background? Why are they there? And where are you in relation to it? Szymborska imagines she is in a schoolroom taking a test. You might imagine something completely different. Here's an example of an ekphrastic poem by me, Melissa Kwasny, that I wrote in response to a painting in the Hockaday Museum of Kalispell by Blackfeet artist Neil Parsons. Black grizzly bear robe. In face paint the bear faces you, each eye tiny and focused on you like a star's. Its massive shoulders crowd behind it, as if waiting for the signal to charge, but more than mere strength is at play here. It's a dangerous animal, surely. The first color you see is blue streaming from its jowls, leaving trails that dilute, grow dimmer as they fall, bleeding down its spoiled regalia. Its mind is filled with its own totem, a six-legged theriomorph with horns, splayed like an ink blot or a dissected frog, in consort with 8 purple suns around it. But what does it see when it sees you? A weak person who hangs her head? What does it hear? The nervous jingling of bells before the dance, the smell of white threads of mycelium? What if you too could wear your spirit, bejeweled with rubies and crumpled foil? What if it were the first thing others see, which has its own shape, a tree's crown fanning outward, your hair dyed a sacred green, antlers or perhaps antennae, a metaphoric life, your hidden powers revealed? Isn't this what we all wish for from our dreams? Notice that I start this poem with descriptions of what I am seeing, color, shape, even sounds and smells I imagine. I find myself asking questions, and I put those also into the poem.
Here is another example written by me, Mandy Smoker, in response to artwork created by Lakota artist Molly Murphy Adams entitled Epicenters and Impact. This piece is located in the Missoula Art Museum. The Book of the Missing, Murdered, and Indigenous, Chapter 1, for Natalie Smoker. The winding cord of highways, unkempt gravel roads, and the trails of animals. A record of who and what has passed over, an agony of secrets. In the end, they have all borne witness, eyes like glass beads that can never blink. The dull light of motel neon shines ominously. An engine growls across the landscape. Brittle men who are splintered like glass thrown from a second-story window, and we are the room they leave behind. They are pathetic husks, feeble in spirit. Fragments fall along fields and shallow ditches, in overlooked alleyways or underpasses. A cold, empty breeze rising from the debris. The first and last moment of her. It is rage that pulls her up from this place. She spews out the wretched and miserable, as particles of dawn-lit soil illuminate her skin. Her hair is a two-edged sword. She stitches together the collective story of origin, her body a map, descended from the stars, on the backs of animal sisters, carried to safety in a bird's beak. This poem was inspired by this mixed media artwork in which Murphy Adams has taken a Forest Service map of southwestern Montana, primarily in the Missoula area and the Flathead Reservation. And she has beaded flowers and red circles, marking the places where Indigenous women went missing or were murdered, a terrible reality that so many families, including my own, have been impacted by. In my poem, I wanted to build in actual components from the art. Glass beads, a winding cord, a map, and stitching. I tried to weave those pieces into what might have been actual experiences of women who were kidnapped. There were a lot of emotions I felt in understanding the artwork's purpose, its function. I experienced rage and fear and immense sadness. All of that serves as the backdrop to my poem. So, what if you want to write your own ekphrastic poem? The first thing to do is choose an object or artwork that speaks to you. It might strike you visually or emotionally. It might bring back memories of a time in your life. Once you have chosen, spend some time really looking at the artwork or object and let your mind open to it. When you are ready to write, here are a few prompts to guide you. What are 3 things that you see? Can you add a simile to one of them? Does it make a sound, or are there sounds you can imagine around it? Is there a smell you can imagine? Is there a story being told? What is it? What emotions does the artwork make you feel? Memories? How does the artwork connect to your own life? Let's try one together. Here is a photograph of a sculpture by artist Patrick Doherty called Tree Circus, which he created at Blackfoot Pathways in Lincoln, Montana, at Sculpture in the Wild, one of the places we visited as part of our project. What are 3 things you see? 5 spires, a hut with windows and doors, a real forest surrounding a make-believe one. Add a simile. 5 spires like witches' hats made of willow branches. What do I hear? The pine trees swaying? Or can you hear the soft chanting of magic spells? Smell the sticky sap and smoke. Is there a story? Once upon a time, an old woman lived in this forest, subsisting on pine nuts she gathered. Where has she gone? Emotion or memory. I feel wistful and kind of sad. How does this connect to my life? I wish there was this kind of daily enchantment in my life.
Of course, there is no one way to write a poem. Here are some other ideas for writing an ekphrastic poem. You can write in the voice of a person or object that is shown in the work of art. You could write about your experience of looking at the art or the subjects in the art. You can relate the work of art to something else it reminds you of, or imagine what was happening while the artist was creating the piece. Speak directly to the artist or the subjects of the piece, or you can imagine a story behind what you see depicted in the piece. Here is one section of a mural called The Buffalo Hunt by Victor Papillon, painted on the walls of the Museum of the Plains Indian in Browning, Montana, another museum that we traveled to. On the previous slide, we shared a few additional ideas to consider when trying to write an ekphrastic poem. Let's use one of those prompts right now. Imagine a story behind what you see depicted in this artwork. I imagine that this group of warriors has just returned from a successful raid to steal horses from an enemy tribe. They have been gone several days, and all the travelers are tired and in need of food and water, including the horses.
Poetry is a way to engage with visual art in a different way. You can come to a work of art more creatively, finding your own meaning and significance. It is an opportunity to step into a painting or place yourself in the shoes of an artist, or even travel in your imagination to a different time and place. You can do this anytime you visit a museum or art gallery. We hope this will be something you try out and enjoy.